Coffee time, coffee time. Yeah, this ain't your average cup of joe. Listen, I need it in the morning, I need it at night. He always keeps it brewing, he always keeps it tight. Just a little sip, it'll get you right. Terrence Pickett always be the one that gets the coffee right. The coffee's right, the coffee's right in my life. It's never a wrong time over crime to get what's yours and to get what's mine. Come on. Coffee time in my life. Coffee time. Feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you stir it, Terrence? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on.
What's up? Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Corey Doolittle. Good morning, sir. My brother from another mother. We've been doing this a long time. Good morning. Invite somebody. Share. Tell them that coffee time is on. Do that for me. Invite somebody. Share. Tell them coffee time. Coffee time is on. While you are doing that, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pour my first brew this morning. So for the past week and a half, I've been using my French press. My cousin Mike, there are mornings that I work from his house. And when I work from his house, the boy makes a mean brew. He's probably the only one whose coffee is better than mine at home. Now, he come to that coffee shop, he's in trouble. But at the crib, the best coffee I've ever had at the crib was my cousin Mike Watson. Some of y'all know him as Will. He went to Reigns. Yeah, he did. Class of 90, baby. So anyway, he makes it he made me a cup in the French press the other day, so I decided to do the same. Good morning. Tina White McPherson, good morning to you. Good morning. Do me a favor, invite somebody, share. This morning we're going to be talking about, wait a minute. Okay, there we go. Making others respect you. Making others respect you, or gaining the respect you deserve. Janitra Rashanti, good morning. Good to see you. K Press, what up? Good morning. Y'all do me a favor, invite somebody to share. We're talking about making others respect you. You know, respect is making others respect your worth. Respect is such a word that is often misunderstood. We believe that in many cases that when a person says, respect me, that's some type of homage where you got to stand but respect is really considering and honoring those you're with more than yourself. Stacy Walker Hall, what up? Good morning. Invite somebody to share. We're getting ready to get into it. So there are so many people, like if you're in business or you have some gift that requires you to book engagement, you have some talent, some gift that people are willing to pay for, or you're rendering any type of service, no matter what it is. One of the things that should be priority to you, top priority, is your time. K-Press, thanks for sharing. We don't have the time that we used to have. We definitely don't have the time for nonsense. And the older you get, the less time you have for things that do not matter. So you start to assess your life. You start to assess where you are. And based on the climate that you're in is going to determine what you do and how much time you have. When I was younger, Paula Tarver, good morning. When I was younger, I had a lot of time to deal with a lot of things. When I wasn't busy, or as busy. I had a lot of time to deal with a lot of things, but the busier you get, the more involved you are, the more your hands stretch out at completing or doing things that are in your heart, the less time that you have for nonsense. So time management is crucial in your everyday life. Time management. You've got to prioritize things. You got to find out what's a priority, what can wait. Everything is not an emergency. And the reason I'm saying this is it's going to help you figure out where your worth is. Your worth can't be everywhere. How we see ourselves is the value that we've esteemed amongst ourselves. How others sees us is determined by their need. If you put yourself in a position where you are in need, you are in demand, then you are highly valuable. So your worth goes up. But if you're not in demand, you're not in need, it doesn't mean that your worth goes down. It could mean that people have not been in a position to see your worth, to see what you're worth, to see your value. So you have to establish in yourself what you're worth. But when it comes to sharing yourself with others, that is predicated on value. So your worth may not change whether you're in demand or not. That's probably, but your value will. And I should have said making others respect your value. When you're in demand, you are extremely valuable. I'll let you think about that for a sec. This is my first cup. Lord God Almighty. Good indeed. There are a lot of people who have registered their worth on an extremely high level, but they're not in demand. I have to host an event tomorrow night. I'm hosting this event. I'm hosting another event tonight. Well, my price tonight is not the same as tomorrow night, because tonight I demanded a certain amount because I'm in demand. Tomorrow night, I couldn't put that demand on them on what I wanted because I'm actually filling in for somebody. If you don't learn the difference between the two, then when your services are needed and you're giving everybody the same price, that's going to be problematic, depending on the field that you're in. Now, some fields, for instance, where you have to buy material, that's not going to change, and your price is probably not going to change because your price is probably based on the job. But in other places, in other fields, you have to be more selective and careful with what you charge, because it could be the introduction or the door opening for another opportunity. You should not necessarily charge every time. And I know you say, well, I'm giving my time, I'm giving my talent, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And if you have to charge, Latrice Roberts, good morning. If you have to charge, your price shouldn't necessarily be the same. Let me give you, I did a patch job. There was a hole in the wall, probably about the size of a large fist. And the lady that I did the patch job for, when I got there, I concluded that she, based on the conversation, she had several rental properties. And she says there's a lot of little detail work that needs to be done in about 4 or 5 of them. She said, but there's another 4 or 5. The whole thing has to be gutted out and refurbished. So I said, well, what stage are you in? Are you ready to get started on this? Are you starting this next week, tomorrow? When is your goal? When are you going to pull the trigger on it? She says, well, if you can get over there and give me an estimate, she said, start giving me an estimate. We can start on the process now. I said, do you have material or do the material? So there's a questionnaire. There are questions that I ask. It's going to allow me to know what stage they are, because I don't have time to be going on rendezvous. I don't have time to be going out pricing stuff for you to go shopping and get somebody else. Because my time is valuable. So long story short, I went to one. I said, I think this is the one that you should start on. Told her why. She agreed. And I gave her an estimate. She said, okay, you can start the work. So the patch job, I should have charged her probably $1,500 for that patch. I charged, I think, $500 for the patch, because that patch opened the door for more work. So now my guys, my construction guys, the guys that work for me, they have more work because I use wisdom and then try and become a millionaire off one job. So I cut my price on the patch job because I saw another door opening for me to get more money and more work. You have to assess every assignment to figure out what does it cost you and what opportunities does it bring you. This is in personal relationships. This is in business. Those things are very, very important. In personal relationship, when the relationship is being tested, it doesn't necessarily mean let it go. You know, because somebody calls you, you have a disagreement or something's not right. That doesn't mean you end or ruin the friendship. It probably means that you need to make some adjustments. You need to make some compromises, because that's what relationship is. That's what people who love do. They adjust so that the person that they're in a relationship with is not offended, is not hurt. But you need to reassess the situation. So in relationships, you need to figure out, what is this relationship costing me? What value does it bring to me? Based on the value that it brings, the value would determine the price that you pay. There are some people in my life, because of how valuable they are to me, I'm willing to pay pretty much any price to keep the relationship. Let me tell you what that looks like. I have some family and friends who I believe are selfish. They are. I don't think they know it. And every time I can, I try to present it to them in a way where they're not offended. But I believe they're selfish. But the relationship is so valuable to me. I get so much out of the relationship that what I get out exceeds the level of selfishness that they're on. So I can deal with them being selfish because of the value that they bring through the relationship. I have a brother who's also one of my best friends. It's actually my cousin. He's really my cousin. But he and I talk about this all the time. There are times in the relationship with him that I have to throw up a weather balloon because I need to know where his mind is. A lot of times we take for granted that people are like us. You know what I'm saying? So whenever I just pop up to his house. I don't call periodically, but I pop up to his house. And when I pop up to his house, I don't know what's going on in his home. I don't know what he's dealing with. He works from home. So as a result of that, something could be going on with the job. So when I ring the doorbell and he comes to the door, I'm throwing a weather balloon up. Depending on how he looks at me, tells me exactly what I need to know. If he opens that door and his eyes are big and he said, "Hey, what's up, man?" That means he has time. But if he opens the door, he doesn't greet me and he runs off and goes back to his office, that means, "Hey, come on in, but I'm busy." If he opens the door and has this long look on his face, I know something's going on. So one of the things that you're going to, or you should do, is there's a scripture in the Bible says, "Know them that labor among you." You've got to learn the silent cues with the people you're in relationship with, the people that you're doing business with. Learn the silent cues, because the silent cues leads to value. If a person doesn't have that kind of value in your life, there's no need to learn what cues they give. But if someone is valuable to you, you need to learn their ways. If you're in business, you need to know your customers. You need to know your clients. You need to know what they like, what they don't like. And that takes time and effort. It takes you being intentional in discovering their wins. Because when you help them with their wins, they will help you with your business. For years, I went to Starbucks. I went to the Green Lady. Years. Let me tell you the main reason why. I remember when they changed their coffee. I do. They went from strong to not as strong, too strong again. And all of it was nasty. Just terrible. They make some of the best specialty drinks, such as lattes, cappuccinos, frappes. They do a wonderful job on those things. So when I used to go to the Green Lady, one of the things that kept me going, because I didn't like their coffee, so I started to settle for their lattes. But what kept me going wasn't their coffee, because I didn't like it. What kept me going, when I walked through that door, I felt valuable, because they called my name. "Hey, Terrence, what are you having today, bud? Are you doing the same?" That calling my name, remembering my drink, made me feel valuable. It made me feel worthy. And wherever you feel valuable, you will commit to investing. So if you can make a person feel valuable, they will invest in you. One of the issues with us is that, especially when we reach a certain level of success, is that we become desensitive or desensitized as it relates to what got us there. Let me tell you something. Whether it's a business or organization, if you tend to the needs of the people will multiply. Because when people feel valued, they share how worthy they feel with others, and they will put your business in the ear of other people because of how you made them feel. Pastor Dr. Andre Callis Cooper. Good morning, kind sir. So the fastest way, the best advertising has been and still is word of mouth. Whatever type of experience you create, the experience you create will determine how far your business or your dream goes. So when we're talking about making others respect your worth, you got to have worth in order for it to be respected. You can't be worthy in your own eyes. I'm sensitive about my product, but your attitude is bad. So when people interact with you, they like what you have, but they don't like how you serve it. Well, you've got to perfect both. You've got to have a great product, but more importantly, you've got to have great service. Let me tell you this. People will deal with the inadequacies or the inconsistencies of your product if they have a great experience with you. I tell our employees all the time, when people come buy this coffee, they're not buying the coffee. They're not buying the sandwiches. They're not buying the smoothies or the frappes. They are buying you. And what happens to many of us is that we put our value on the top shelf, but our service is in the basement. You've got to have customer service skills in understanding people. When you understand people, I'm telling you, it'll be very few times that you're going to be surprised. I think everybody needs a degree in peopleology. Mike Grubbs, good morning, son. You do. You need to develop people skills. If that's not your thing, that's not your gift, then you've got to hire someone who's good with people. Chick-fil-A specializes in customer service. Because Chick-fil-A said, when you respect people, they keep buying. And there's never a time when you pass by a Chick-fil-A and that line is not through the roof. And here's what we do. We sit in line and we wait because we like the product and we love the service. My daughter just clicked on Mary Rachel. Mary Rachel is one of my daughters in the faith. Her father's a bishop, but she's still one of my daughters and have been. So when you go to Chick-fil-A, you say thank you. They say, my pleasure. Have a blessed day. So when it comes to concluding your worth, here's what I want to ask you about your worth. How consistent are you? What makes you valuable? It's consistency. Character is compared to a statue. Consistency flows out of character. Character is compared to a statue. No matter if it's raining, snowing, the wind is blowing, hail, sleet, no matter what the weather conditions are, a statue does not change. That's how committed that you have to be in what you do. Always getting better, always smiling, always being happy, even on the days when your happiness is challenged. You're going through things. You can't take those things out on the people you're serving or the people that you're with, because you've got to remember the value that they bring. Without them, you have nothing. On Monday this week, I'm on Coffee Time, and as I do occasionally, I make you a part of my life. You're a part of my world. So I answered the phone. I put the microphone on mute, and I answered the phone on Monday, and I told y'all, hold on a minute. And I got some of the worst news that anybody, just the worst news. My aunt had transitioned and gone home to be with the Lord. This was Monday. I got off the phone. I've got to come back and finish Coffee Time. So I came back, finished. You didn't know anything was wrong because I showed up Tuesday. I showed up Wednesday. Showed up Thursday. We had great conversation, and I'm here today. I've taken calls. I've had counseling appointments. I've had meetings. There's still obligations and responsibilities that I had to do, and I could not take my grief to the meetings with me. So there's a part of you, listen to me, there's a level of discipline with your emotions that you're going to have to gain in order for your value to increase. Nobody knew my aunt passed, and I loved her. Love her now. The services are tomorrow. Nobody knew. I didn't tell nobody because I wasn't looking for sympathy. The point, and the only reason I'm bringing up now is I'm saying to you, there's a level of consistency that you have to have in whatever you do if your worth and your value is going to increase. The reason people cannot hold down jobs is and hold down relationships is that they are emotionally unstable. And you feel, because of the calls, that you have every right to leak on other people. You feel it's okay that because you're going through that the world is supposed to stop and change. Let me help you out. Life goes on. And I'm gonna tell you something that's surreal. I'm gonna tell you something, it may be kind of harsh. It may be kind of harsh. I remember, and I'm caught in this fix all the time. There are some Saturdays where that Saturday morning I have to sing at a funeral, or I've had to preach at a funeral, and then that Saturday afternoon go host a party or a concert. Listen to this. So when I'm at the funeral, I'm seeing the family and friends of the loved one. I'm watching them grieve, cry. A lot of them, the grief is so heavy they cannot contain themselves. Then I leave there and have to host a party or a concert. At that party or concert, nobody is thinking about who died earlier. Nobody is thinking about somebody had a funeral. They're not thinking about that. Let me give you another analogy before I make my point. In February the 3rd, 2012, February the 2nd, 2012, my brother Freddie transitioned, went home to be with the Lord. Well, because I had been at the hospital, because I had been with my family, because he transitioned, it just slipped my mind to pay the rent. There were two places I needed to pay rent for, and I forgot some of the other bills too. There's a mortgage payment, 2 places I need to pay rent. I forgot all of it. Just in the rush, and death is not easy, especially sibling death. And I never forget, one of the people, the property manager, called me, and I apologized to her. I did. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, please forgive me. My brother transitioned on yesterday, and there is so much going on. I'm going to pay you. She said, oh, my God. And this lady was genuinely remorseful. She showed concern. She showed care. She even told me, she said, I'll be praying for you and your family. She says, Mr. Pickett, I'm so sorry. And we went to talking, and this is what she said. She said, Mr. Pickett, thank you so much. Again, my prayers are with you and your family. Thank you for taking my call. And don't forget the balance is $11.05. She said, if you don't pay by the end of the day, there's going to be a $150 late fee applied to the account. What are you saying? Well, at the funeral, they were crying. At the partying, they were rejoicing because life goes on. My brother died. I didn't pay the bills. As sorry as she was, she did not relinquish me from those bills. I still had to pay them. Here is what you're going to have to get in your emotions. This is the onlook. This is the insight that you need to have. Nobody cares about you the way you care for you, and nobody's getting ready to stop for what you're going through. Suck it up. Ask God for help and keep it moving. Because I don't care what you go through. JEA still want their money. JEA has this hardship thing going on that if you can't pay your bill, they're not going to turn your service off. It's only for 90 days. After 90 days, if you don't pay that bill, make or set up a payment arrangement, you're going to be in the dark. Because life goes on. Life goes on. So a part of you committing your value to others is understanding your worth, but your worth is defined by how consistent you are. Can people count on you? You want people to pay you a certain amount of money for your services, but then they have to contend with, are you going to be on time? Are you going to come through? Are you going to keep your word? So even though your product is good, if your service is bad, it decreases your value. Andrea Mitchell, good morning. It does. It decreases your value. Let me help you people out that are in business. Get around someone, listen to me good, who has the wisdom for what you do, and dedicate time to listen to them. If you can't do it every day, you better do it every other day. If you can't do it every other day, you better do it every week. Because the wisdom becomes the schoolmaster for you to increase your value. You will get more when you know more. I said on yesterday, I listen more than I talk, and I learn more than I teach. So it's going to be very hard to catch me in a crutch where my value is not high. Now, my value is not high because that's where I've assessed it. Your value becomes high when people are willing to pay you what you say you're worth. I never have a problem getting paid. I don't. If you have an event, I'm going to be there 30 minutes early. I'm going to be patient. I'm not going to tax you unnecessarily. My prices are good. They're fair. Most times, if the budget isn't there, I'm going to work with you in terms of your money. Now, you can't get me to come host an event for $100, $150. That ain't happening. Hosting an event is not something I really want to do. But I will do it if it's going to bless you. But you're going to have to do better than 150, 200. So to get me out the house, it is going to cost you. I'm just going to work with you. If you burn the bridge, we're not falling out. Write this down. Never fall out over money. If you don't pay, I have people that owe me money now. It's some churches that owe me money. I never fall out people because they owe me money. You just can't get me again. Now, I don't care what you have. Well, the pastor mama died, and she said you sung her favorite song. Well, you better teach that song to your choir. Because you didn't honor my worth the last time I was there, so it makes me believe I have no value with you. If I have value with you, you will honor my worth and pay me what you said. You cannot disrespect me when I've rendered a service and you've made an agreement, then turn around and change the rules for why you didn't honor your word. You can't do that. You can't. I may even come to your mama's funeral. I might even shout in the back. And if you get on that microphone, Brother Terrence is here. Brother Terrence, she loved when you sang, you sing such and such. Now I'm going to tell you, that depends, honestly, on what I feel the Lord wants me to do. Because I might do it, but I might not. I've been known to do both. There have been times when I've been caught in situations like that and I went ahead and sung knowing they owed me money. And there's other times when I sat in my seat and walked out that door. And you can't tell me what's right for me. You say, well, oh, that's me. You walked out the door. Yes. Yes. Here's why. Here's why. When you don't respect what a person is worth, it's obvious I was valuable because you're asking me to come again. So the value is there. But when you disrespect what a person is worth, what you're saying is you have no value for them. You don't get to decide the value you have for me and the terms and how we're going to serve. God gives me a choice. I have a will. And I'm not going to keep subjecting myself to people who don't honor my worth. When a person says something, and there's balance with this, because there's times I put my word out, and when I put my word out, I've actually been working on things and forgotten, or some other things came up, or tragedy hit, and it slipped my mind, and somebody come back and tell me, hey, you said you were going to do such and such. Oh my God, I'm so sorry I didn't do that. Please forgive me. And I try and make it right. There are times when that happened. So there's some exceptions to the rule. But I'm talking about you committed to give me a certain amount. We had an agreement, and you disrespected the agreement. That tells me I have no value with you. So if I have no value with you, I'm not going to waste my time on you. I understand where we stand, and we'll be able to go to lunch. We can talk on the phone, text. I'm going to probably check up on you. But you will never be able to get services from me because your value has proven to me is just not there. Let me give you something else in respecting or making others respect your worth. When a person outlines the terms or the conditions of service, and then they're looking for loopholes to get out or what they outline, you don't have value with them. Let me help you. Never fall out over money. It's not worth it. I don't have a relationship with anyone where we've fallen out over money. Even the ones that owe me. You just won't be able to get another dollar out of me. I can see you on the side of the road. Maybe I won't go to that extreme, because I'm also sensitive to the Holy Spirit. If the Holy Spirit tells me to do something, but for the most part, God gives us a will, so you decide the relationship you're going to have by your actions and your conduct. Last year, there was a homeless person that I brought in my home. It wasn't just someone random. They came to the coffee shop every day. They started working for us, built a relationship with them, and found out that they were sleeping in empty buildings. I made a hard decision. Listen to me closely. For those of you people that care about people and you love people, be careful with that, because that love and that care that you have for them can decrease your value. It can, because there's a danger connected. There's a mentality that is attached to every person. And if you don't understand the mentality that's attached to them, your heart may love them and you want to do good for them. But if their mentality has not changed, they've been in them streets. They were raised by wolves. Then you can't expect them to act human because you're being nice. And a lot of people get burned because they're hanging out with people that were raised by wolves. That's all they know is lie and deceit. Brought the person in my home. They had their own bedroom, their own bath. They had their own part of the house. They went and came as they pleased. I made sure groceries were there. Just made everything comfortable for them. It was cold. It was cold. And I didn't want them outside. And I didn't have to be to work till about 11. And then, of course, I had a lot to do. but they had to be to work at 4:30, and for a whole month, I got up, took them to work, came back home, did the things that I needed to do, and worked around their schedule. I did that for a whole month to help get them on their feet. Well, about 3-4 months pass. They're making money. I start noticing things. I noticed they bought another cell phone. So now they got two. They have two cell phones. I also noticed they went to the store quite often because they smoke, and they bought whatever they need to support their habit. I noticed they started wearing new clothes, and they were looking good. I also noticed they love coffee, and they were going through my coffee. There's a non-dairy cream that I have if I want cream. They were going through the cream. They were going through the groceries. They were going through the washing powder, the detergent, the bleach. I mean, my electric bill almost doubled. I don't know what they were doing in that room, what they were running. But my bills began to increase. And they never offered a dime. Now, here's the thing. I told them, moving in, hey, I'm going to let you stay here 30 to 60 days. After that, let's get together and talk and see where you are and what you need, and I'll try to help you accordingly. 4 months went by. 4. When they got the second cell phone, listen to this carefully. That means you have 2 bills. So you got money to pay bills. I'm not valuable enough to you for you to help pay mine, the bills that you're increasing. So I had no value to them. The value to them was getting what they needed. You got to be careful with helping people. You're not valuable to them. What you're doing is valuable. So, of course, we had a conversation. At 4 months, there's nothing you can tell me. And they said, well, I get paid in 2 weeks, and I was going to give you something out of that. No. You had 4 months to do that. You didn't do it then. So I don't believe you were going to do it now. The only reason you're saying that is because I brought it to your attention. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what you're going to do. You're not going back to my house. I'll put you up in a hotel for one night. And from there, you're going to have to figure it out because you've had 4 months to save, 4 months to make plans. The grace for you is gone because I just found out I'm not valuable to you. And they tried to talk me out of that. I wasn't hearing none of that. Then, but let me tell you what happened before that. This is what made me start thinking and looking at stuff. What happened before that is the week before this happened, they were working for me. They came to me on a Tuesday and said, hey, I got a job paying more money, and they say I have to start tomorrow. What? We've taken the time to train you. I think I was paying them $13 an hour, which is a lot for a coffee shop. It's way more than Starbucks pays. I took the time to train you. I lost money training you because you were of no value, but I wanted to help you. So I trained you. It took about 3 months for you to really get good working knowledge of what we do. Not only that, I took that loss, turned around, took another loss by letting you stay with me. And you don't have the courtesy to at least give me a 3-day notice? And this is what she said. Well, they said if I don't start, I ain't going to get the job. I said impossible. Employers don't work that way. When I found out the company, just so happened I knew the manager. So I called the manager, told her about the situation. She said, yeah, we tried to tell her she could start in 2 weeks. She said she wanted to start right now. That girl was raised by wolves. She was a little girl that liked girls. She was raised by wolves, and the mentality that she had, she was used to taking advantage of people. So You don't care anything about the business. You don't care anything about me. I still let her stay there a whole month after she went to another job. But what made me bring that grace to an end was when I started to see I'm not valuable to you. What I have is. You have to be careful. And I'm going to tell you the way elder of the church used to tell me. When people show you who they are, the prophetess Maya Angelou said this, believe them. Don't you act like you didn't see what you saw. Don't you act like you didn't hear what you heard. And don't you dare act like you don't know what you know. People are constantly telling you who they are. And the more you give them, the more they take advantage of you. Your value goes down. Now, you think you helping them. And if anybody valuable to them, look what I do. No, that doesn't mean you have value with them. It means what you're giving them is valuable to them. So you have to be careful. You have to keep yourself in a position where you are assessing the situation, reassessing the situation, and you're monitoring their actions. There's a level of consistency that you need before you can put a demand on somebody else to respect your worth. I met a stripper one time. I was in Bono's off of Southside Boulevard. I'm sitting there eating. Young lady came in, sits across the table for me. She wanted my ketchup or whatever it was. I gave it to her. We started to talk, and she seemed like a pretty good girl. I knew something was off. I didn't know what it was. I knew something. And I talked to her about school. At the time, I was working for a college. This was many years ago. And I said, well, are you in school? She said, no. I'm like, I think you should. What are your dreams? We're going through all the little small talk, and I invited her to come to my office. She comes to my office. I enrolled her in school. And the only option she had was to do night school because the day classes were full. And she just acted as if there was something she wanted to say, but she didn't know how to say it. At the time of the school, of course, we had cameras and all that stuff, stuff to protect us in case people tried to lie, whatever the case may be. She wouldn't talk. I knew something was up. So I didn't want her to drop out. So I said, let's do a tour. We did a tour of the school. And when we go to the other building, we have to walk outside. Well, in my mind, I said, when I get her outside, I'm going to make her confess, open up. There's something up. We do it. And I said, talk to me. I said, you've given me all these reasons why you can't go to night school. I said, and in my heart, I believe there are excuses. Tell me what the real reason is. She says, I'm a stripper by night. She said, I have to do that I have 2 little girls, and I'm trying to get a job because I got a record. Nobody will hire me. I want to go to school. The problem is nighttime, I need that money. It's easy. It's easy to judge somebody else's problem when you don't have anything invested in it. My initial thought was if you want to do better, you could. But I don't know that to be true. People are a product of their bloodline and their environment. And people do what they feel they have to do when they feel they have to do it. And I don't think we ought to judge them. Listen to this. Your value to people will increase when you stop judging them and put your judgment aside and let love rule. I had this brief conversation with myself about this situation. Oh, she's a stripper. It just wasn't it didn't sit good with me and I didn't like it, but who am I to say how you pay your bills? So I decided to get her in the day classes so she could still shake a tail feather at night because she had to do what she had to do. Listen to me. Within 4 months of being in school, she met someone who had a private firm that hired her, where she didn't have to take her clothes off no more because opportunity met her. But opportunity met her while she was in school. Right now, she's married. Her and her husband had 2 more kids. And she's on Coffee Time. She always listens to the replay. I think she lives in Delaware somewhere. We still communicate through inbox. One of the stipulations that I give people, especially women, hey, we can be cool, we can stay in contact, but your husband need to know who I am. Because I'm not trying to defend or allow my good to be evil spoken of. So her and her husband, they stay in contact with me, and I'm just proud of who she is. Now listen, my value went up with her because I didn't judge her. Now listen to this. When I was on radio in New York, she was the one that opened the door for the opportunity. Because now she runs 2 or 3 radio stations. Your value to people is contingent on how you view them. If you view them through the heart of your own judgment, you will misplace them. When you misplace them, you disqualify the grace that God is giving you. So you judge them, you're going to be judged. If you're going to make others respect your worth, you need to respect others' worth. Let me give you one last thing, and that's going to be it for today. Don't be trying to place a demand on people when you're not busy. That's how you ruin opportunities. So there's a baker that bakes pastries. And by the way, I'm looking for another pastry chef. There's certain pastries that I need. She knew nothing about wholesale. She only knew retail, I'm sorry. And I explained to her, hey, I like your brownies, your cookies, and they look good. They taste good. Excuse me, what do you sell them for? And she told me what she sold them for. I said, that's your retail price. What's your wholesale price? Now, she was trying to get into different restaurants. I said, if you're going to get into restaurants aren't going to pay retail. There's too many of you out there. So she said, well, explain to me how that works. I said, for instance, the brownies she had, they were big and they were good, but she was selling them for $8. Well, depending on the restaurant that you go to and where you want to place your product, I can guarantee you, I don't care how good they are, people not paying no $8 for brownies. You're going to have to downsize the brownies by making them smaller, and you're going to have to change your price and make it affordable to where the people are. If they're not affordable for where people are, I don't care how good they are, people will never taste it or try it because they're too expensive. Your value will increase as you listen to the wisdom of the people that are advising you. If you don't have value in their wisdom, don't waste their time by asking. Because so many times we go to people, we ask questions, we want their wisdom, but we're really trying to waste their time because we don't apply anything that they say. That's it, y'all. I love y'all. Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you for your love and your support. Please, if you would, we're able to do what we do by the goodness and the kindness of your support financially as well as your presence. The Cash App is on the screen. It's $sponsor Coffee Time. This gives us the ability to reach our community, to feed the hungry and the homeless, to provide. We've got some things that we're getting ready to do. The winter is coming up, so we're already in the process of getting blankets, pillows, cushion for the homeless to sleep on, socks, toiletries. And that's where your gift, your money goes. And I appreciate if you can give 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 100,000, $1 million. If you're going to give $1 million, let me know, because I have another way that you can give that. I don't want you to break the Cash App. I appreciate your love, your support. Thank you for all that you do. Thanks for showing up. As long as you show up, unless the Lord says otherwise, I'm going to be here. Remember, you were born to win, predestined to succeed. There's nothing that can happen to you today that the wisdom on the inside of you cannot handle. You got to calm down, slow down, be quiet, use emotional intelligence, trust God, and let wisdom speak. When wisdom speak, you will always win. Go have a productive Friday. Always remember to think higher, speak life. All right? Peace out.
Coffee time. Yeah, this ain't your average cup of joe. Listen, I need it in the morning, I need it at night. He always keeps it brewing, he always keeps it tight. Just a little sip, it'll get you right. Terrence Pickett always be the one that gets the coffee right. The coffee's right, the coffee's right in my life. It's never a wrong time or a crime to get what's yours and to get what's mine. Come on. Coffee time in my life. Coffee time feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you stir it, Terrence? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on.